special training video. We are a small lodging facility for cats and dogs. We take pride to accept any breed, any size, no matter what behavior. However, we do expect our owners to let us know in advance what are their needs of their pets. Follow me inside and we'll start our training. Well, this is our front desk area. Our front desk receptionist is in charge of checking in our guests and checking them out. They also take reservations, cancellations, as we offer lodging as well as daycare. It is very important to always make sure that our desk is free of clutter, specifically this area, which is the one that the guest uses to check in. We have treats for our dogs when they come in, we can welcome them, and here are our policies that we try to abide at our best. We are a small company, and that gives us the freedom to bend the rules sometimes just to be able to accommodate our guests and make everybody happy and satisfied. As you can see over here, we have a couple of reports that the front desk agent will print for you every morning. We have the morning feeding report, the roll call report. This is pretty much an overview of each guest and their rooms. This is the check-in and check-out report. This will let you know how many guests we have checking in and how many guests we have checking out. And this is our grooming report. This goes directly to our groomer, and that lets her know how many dogs she needs to groom today. As you can see, these are little tags that have the name of our guest and the room that that guest is going to. We have them ready for you every morning. So according to our checking list, as soon as this guest checks in, you can come over, take a quick peek at their check-in schedule, see where this guest is supposed to be going, assigned to a specific room, and tag them with their original color, which we keep at all times, and put this little paper tag on the collar, so at any time, anywhere, anyone can identify the name of our guest and the room that they belong to. Front desk is also in charge of medication. Medication is very important, and that's why this task is only assigned to them. Some of our guests need medication in the morning and at night, or only once a day. When the front desk clerk is not available, meaning Sunday or when they have to leave early, then you might possibly be in charge of medication. We have a very, very strict rule with that, and we have a couple of logins for you to log consistently once you administer medication to our guests. Front desk is also in charge of cats, feeding the cats, keeping the cat warm, clean, playing with the cats, etc. When a guest checks in, the front desk agent will collect all the pertinent information about this guest, like the vaccinations that might be current. They must be current in order to stay with us. Also, if they desire to have any special services, like one-on-one private play or a semi-private play, if they can play with other dogs, if they are intact, or if they have any kind of disability. Whenever you are at the front desk, even if you're not the front desk agent on duty, it is very important that you follow the front desk etiquette. That means that you should be aware of your surroundings and your co-workers. Please always be polite and pleasant. When a guest is checking in when they're with the owner, offer a proper greeting. Good morning, good afternoon, hello. If you have more than one guest checking in at one time, please make sure that you always acknowledge another guest. You can say something as easy as, "Hi, I'll be right with you," or "I see you, I'll be right with you." Also try to do the same thing over the phone. Always acknowledge a guest over the phone, and if you're busy with a guest that's currently standing in front of you, please make sure that you take the phone number and offer to call them back right away. Throughout the day, make sure that you're always checking voicemails. In this area right here, we have these walkie-talkies. When you come into work, always make sure that you get a walkie-talkie. This is a way that we communicate into our back kennel and our playground. As soon as you check in, you get your walkie-talkie. If the batteries die, don't worry, you have plenty of batteries to go around. This is our lifeline between all of us working here at Green Valley Pets. Some of the standard greetings we use here at Green Valley Pets is your usual good morning, thank you for calling Green Valley Pets. You don't have to offer your name if you don't feel comfortable with that, but we do like you to say thank you for choosing us every time we close a transaction with a guest, in person or over the phone. We are a new company and therefore we have new standards of service. There was an old saying about the customer is always right. We don't abide by that rule anymore. That rule is outdated. We see all of our customers as partners, and by so we treat them that way. We deserve the same kind of appreciation we give our customers, and we also have rules and regulations that they must follow in order to keep our company safe and their guests safe. One thing that I want you to keep in mind is that at no point any kind of retaliation, bully, or discrimination will be tolerated from our customers to our employees or from among us here at Green Valley Pets as coworkers. This is our main kennel. This is the position that we call pet concierge. So you will be working over here where we have the lodging, pretty much the rooms for all of our guests. This is our smallest room. We call this the puppy room. We specifically have these rooms for small toy dogs. The ones that don't need a lot of room, like a little Chihuahua, like a little Westie. And we have these medium-sized rooms. We call this the good dog cottage. This is a bigger room, which means that the dog can be taller and it has in and out access to the outside. We open the doors for the outside at 7 a.m. and we close them at 7 p.m. So the dog has access at all times to go in and out to the terrace and socialize with other dogs. Let me show you over here. So this is what this kind of room looks like. As you can see, there's the doggy door and you can see the terrace from the outside. We call this section 2, which is the puppy love rooms and the good dog cottage. When we have dogs that are here only for daycare, we like to put them on these crates right over here. This is if our daycare guest is a small guest. If we have a big guest that's also here for daycare, then we go ahead and accommodate them in a bigger room. This area here we call the center. We want to disinfect the center every day, as we don't want to harbor any bacteria or bad odors. We have a place for everything here at Green Valley Pets. We want to be very organized. We have 2 specific spots where we keep our leashes, right here and at the back door. Please make sure that you always carry a leash with you because you never know when you need to capture a guest. Here is a platform. We want to take this platform, always be free of clutter. Please don't put any of your personal belongings in the platform. Don't leave any food in the platform. Just try to keep the platform always free of debris, clutter, or any personal belongings or guest belongings. When you disinfect the center and when you're making sure that this area is properly clean, one of the most important things is to always clean the center drain. This is our center drain, and it always gets filled with water, hair, kibble, and we make sure that it's completely rinsed out with the water, and then you pass a broom through it. We have 4 statuses of the rooms here at Green Valley Pets. This is a check-in ready room. This is a check-out dirty room. This is an occupied room. And this is a ready to check out room. This is our check-in ready room. Every room needs to have a little basket. We use this to keep small belongings like delicious and the colors. We also put breakfast, treats, and dinner in here. So that when we serve breakfast or dinner, we can just go ahead and grab the little Ziploc bag and serve dinner. Every specific room should also have a clipboard. This clipboard will show you the status of the room. If it's ready, if it's dirty, when it's occupied, it will have the camel card for the guests. This is the security lock that we need to have in every single room. When we close the door and we put our guest in, we lock it again and we put the security lock. Every room should have a raised bed and a bucket upside down, so that when we bring the guest in, it's easy to move the bed to the back and put their bucket of water or their food, and it's ready to go. You don't have to run all the way out to the pantry to get it. When we have a water bucket in the inside, and also a water of the bucket outside on the terraces for the rooms that have terraces. Always fill the bucket of water and use the bucket specific for your guest. So for example, if you have a big Labrador dog, you're not going to use this bucket. You're going to use a bigger bucket for more water. Always place the food and the bucket of water on the side opposite to the block of the door. So we don't want this on this area or the food, because when the guest comes in and out, it will always be the possibility of him knocking down the food and the water and making it a big mess. So we always want to put it on the opposite side. This is a checkout room. That means this room is dirty. When you checked out a guest, it's very important that you always turn to the opposite side so that anyone can tell that this room is dirty and it needs to be cleaned. This is an occupied room. You know this because the kennel cards are already in place. That means that these two dogs are staying in this room. They have their raised bed, their little towels, their food, their water, and they are just ready for a comfortable stay. This is a ready to check out room, and we will know this right away because you will see this specific tag. This says checkout ready. This means that the person from the shift before you already make sure that all the personal belongings that these guests brought with him are in this area. For example, they brought one specific toy or medication or their leash. Everything should be in this surrounding. So when this guest is ready to leave, we don't have to be looking all over the facility for their stuff. They're already here, available for us to just pick up and take it from to the other. Sometimes you will see specific special notices in a room. For example, this little starburst. It says, I have been groomed. That means that these guests have been groomed already and are super clean. We want to take care of them, make sure they don't get dirty, make sure they don't go to the playground, make sure they don't interact with other dogs that are dirty, so that when the owner comes over and picks them up, they can really appreciate the hard work that they did. Another special signage is this one, day play. That means that these dogs are specifically to play only for tonight. So we want to make sure that these dogs go out to the playground as often as possible. We have also these little dots. We have something that we call the dot system. You'll learn more about it. And when you see the dot system on the kennel card, make sure that you be aware of it and memorize what every dot means. We have an open door policy here at Green Valley Pets. What that means is that at any time we welcome anybody to come over and take a tour of our facility. That just makes for a good impression, and that shows the owners that we are clean at all times and that we welcome them to come over, take a tour, and make sure if this facility meets their needs. However, we do want to keep some areas close to the public. Like this area in particular is just a little shower curtain, but behind here we have all of our housekeeping appliances. As much as owners like to know that these facilities clean, they really don't want to be looking at all of our janitorial supplies. So come on over and I'll show you what we have here. Obviously, we have our caution sign. Make sure that you use this, especially if you know an area is extremely wet. Here is our sink. We do dishes here. And here are all the supplies that you might need. We keep our trash bags, Clorox, paper towels, dishwasher detergent, and our disinfectants hanging from this rack. We have 100 feet hose. These hoses specifically used for the inside of the kennel. We have also another 100 foot hose on each side and on the back, so that you have access to water throughout the facility. We have our trash bag over here, our trash can over here. One thing that I want you to keep in mind is that this garbage can is in this area specifically for non-bio waste. So when you pick up something from a kennel inside or the outside, please don't put any biological waste on this bin, because then the entire kennel and the inside will be very smelly, and we don't want that. We have this disinfectant. This disinfectant specifically for the use in kennels is very gentle on the dogs, and it will not cause any kind of trouble. We also use Clorox. However, every time we use Clorox, we need to then rinse it with our disinfectant and then rinse it with water. Anytime that you use this hose or any hose in the facility for this matter, make sure that you recoil it back to a shape that is nice, neat, cleaned, and organized. You will find 2 pumps like this in our kennel. One pump is for bleach and one pump is for our disinfectant. We use this because it's really easy and really fast, and it's also very efficient and productive. We will not be wasting any product, and we will use a little bit of bleach and a little bit of disinfectant every time we clean a room. Some of these pumps are kind of tricky to fill up, so make sure that you ask your fellow coworkers to teach you how to do that. For the bleach and the disinfectant, you only have to fill them up till here, and the rest of that is water. Now I'm going to teach you how to clean the rooms. We have 2 different types to clean a room. A continuing guest room and a checked out room. So let's focus on this room. We know that this room is a continuing guest. How do we know that? Because the kennel card will tell us when the guest is checking out, and if we know that this dog is staying here for a couple more days, it only needs a tidy up cleaning. A tidy up cleaning is kind of like when you go to a hotel and you're going to stay there for a week. They don't change the sheets of your room every day. They just change it when they need to be refreshed. And in the meantime, they just do an overall quick cleaning of your room. That's exactly what we're going to do with the rooms that have guests that are continuing to stay with us for a few more days. So what we will do is that we will open the room and we will refresh their water. We will take the plate from their dinner the night before or their breakfast, and any leftover food needs to be thrown away. We don't like to waste, but we don't want this food to get stale or harbor bacteria. And moreover, since every food for every guest is accounted for, when we don't replenish the old food with new food, the owner might think that we did not feed their dog properly. We don't want that. And we are going to inspect the room. If we see that their mat is dirty, or they have urine or solid waste, or their towel is dirty, or their razor is dirty, then we will clean that accordingly. So we will also, use paper towels, pick up the waste. We will use our little bottle of disinfectant and clean up the urine. We will do a quick sweep just to get all the kibble and all the hair out. And that is how we clean a continuing guest room. Make sure that you replenish the water. If the water bowl is healthy, then change it for a new one. And if the mat or the towel is dirty, also please make sure that you use a new one. We have a laundry machine and a drying machine. We have everything you need here to make sure that our guests are comfortable at all time, and hygiene is one of our #1 priorities. So this is a dirty room, and we know that because whoever checked out this guest and gave it back to the owners, they also follow the rules and turn the status of this room. So now we know that this room needs to be clean. There's a specific way and specific order that you need to follow in order to properly disinfect a kennel that is checked out. We don't want any other dog to get into a room that has not been properly cleaned, because then they might pick up things from a previous guest, like fleas or kennel cough, and that's something we don't like. So what we do first is that we take all of the remaining stuff that's in here. Let's say that there was still a bed or still a towel from the previous guest. So once we strip the room completely, we are going to spray it with bleach. This is our bleach pump. So we will pump it a couple times, and then we will spray this room completely, including the ceiling, the walls, the tile, the floor. All of it with a couple of pumps of bleach. To be more effective and save more time, you can go ahead and do that with all the other rooms that are also checked out and then need to be checked out clean. Let's say that you have 3 or 4 rooms that you have to do this process to. So go ahead and do that with your bleach. In the meantime, the bleach sits for a couple of minutes. Then you have to come back to all the rooms and give it another spray with our disinfectant pump. So you do the exactly same procedure. Couple of pumps, and then you'll do the ceiling, the walls, the tile, the floor. Go ahead and continue with the other 4 rooms that you also put bleach on. Sometimes, and depending how dirty the checkout room is, you might have to scrub it. So we have these special scrubbing brushes. Go ahead and scrub that. Make sure you get all the stains out. Then, as our final step, you will rinse the entire room, ceiling, wall, tiles, and floor with water. You will just rinse it completely, and you will dry it with our squeegee. You can make sure you get as much as possible of the water out. Once you've done that, you will go ahead and you will get a bed, a clean bucket. You will put them in the middle of the kennel, and you will turn the sign to say that this room is now check-in ready. And that's how you clean a checkout room. So now this room is check-in ready in the inside. So we'll have to go outside and clean the terrace. The terrace also needs to be disinfected. We will get the water bucket from outside of the terrace, rinse it, put it back in, and we'll be ready for our next guest. We feed our guests according to specific instructions given to us at the time of check-in by the owners. Like I said before, we want every guest to bring their own food, preferably in individual bags, portioned accordingly to the morning feeding or the afternoon feeding. Please keep in mind that some dogs eat twice a day, 3 times a day, or only once a day. That information will be available to you on the feeding schedule. If we have, and when we have to make the Ziploc bags with the exact portion of the meal for our guest, the shift before you will place it in the basket. Remember, the basket is to be in every single room, and it holds food, toys, or any other specific belongings that are small enough to fit in there. We only allowed our guests to bring one clearly marked toy. We prefer not to receive any bedding or towels or blankets. We have everything in this facility to provide to our guests, and we don't want to misplace anything and have someone be upset that their belongings got lost. Breakfast is around 8 a.m. and dinner is around 7 p.m. That is an average depending on how many people are working with you on that shift and how many guests we have. We also have happy hour. Happy hour is after our employees' lunch. So we go to lunch from 1 to 2. At 2 p.m. we'll come back and you'll do happy hour for our guests. Happy hour consists of one milk that we buy here at the kennel, so it's happy hour on the house. Every guest gets a milk bone. If our guest is allergic to that, the owner will let us know as well, and then will provide us with either their own treats or an alternative. We can do slices of apples. Let's talk more about the kennel card. The kennel card is information about a specific guest. It looks like this, and you will get this from the front desk after check-in. This information is taken by the front desk after a brief interview with the owner. So the kennel card will give you all the information you need on a specific guest. For example, the check-in date, the checkout date, any behavior that you need to be aware of with the dog. For example, if they play well with others, if they are hyper, if they don't like male dogs, if they are neuter, if they are in heat, if they are pregnant, if they need medication. Their feeding schedule will also show in here. We have all the information about the owner, so in the unlikely event of an emergency, it's very easy for us to contact their vet and their owner. You will see some little highlighting areas in here that the front desk will make for you. We'll talk about these dots later. The dot system is very important, and we would like you to memorize it. So when you see a specific dot in a kennel card, you know right away what it means. We have information about the exercise that this dog is allowed to have. Is he allowed to have a play group with other dogs, or if he only needs a private play session? If he is on medications, what kind of food, and the frequency of the feeding, and if he has any belongings that he brought with them. For example, their leashes, or a toy, or a specific collar. Behind every kennel card, there is a wellness card. It's attached and stapled behind the kennel card. Remember, you will get this from the front desk. So this is what a welfare card guest notes looks like. Every time you come in contact with a guest, you need to put in your initials appropriately. The date, the breakfast, the medication, the play groups, the happy hour, the play group in the afternoon, dinner, and medication. These guests, specifically, just for our example, doesn't have any medication, so you will see annexed in here. But let's suppose that this guest is taking medication. You will have to sign in here that the medication was properly administered. Same thing for breakfast. Right after you feed breakfast, after you've personally served breakfast to this guest, you will have to initial here. After you take this specific guest to a playgroup, you will have to initial. Same thing for happy hour, and so on and so on. These notes are extremely important. And if you do not follow protocol, meaning writing notes here every time, that unfortunately will be a disciplinary action. That's how important this information is for us. When you need a quick reference on our guest, you can come to this wall. Here we have the call roll. Remember the call roll? You got this from the front desk first thing in the morning, and it will give you information of a guest and the room, the check-in date, the checkout date. We also have pens in here. These pens are placed in here so that it's easier for you whenever you need to put in the initials on the wellness card. You come over, get a pen, put on your initials. We also have the dot system reference here. So let's talk more about this. The dot system is a system that we've incorporated so that you can just look at the color of a dot and immediately know some information about that guest. The red dot means caution or attention. So these guests might be aggressive. That's why they have a red dot. The green dot means one-on-one or private play. Private play is offered to customers that know that their dog does not go or get along well with other dogs. For example, they only like human interaction, or they like small groups of dogs. The yellow dot means that this dog is scheduled to have bath of grooming as a departure service. So that means that the day that he is going home, he will get a bath or a groom. The blue dot means that this pet needs medication. The pink dot means that this dog has food allergies. The lime green dot means that they do not want to play. They had not paid for private play, so they only get to hang out in their terrace. And the purple dot means Taco Tuesday. Taco Tuesday is a small amenity that we've created here at Green Valley Pets. Now let me show you our biggest room. This is the area where we have our biggest room. This is called the Spoiled Dog Flat. It also has in and out access to a terrace. This area right here, we call the hallway. We also want to disinfect it every day, and it also has a drain. So this drain also needs to be cleaned at all times of dog hair, kibble, and water that passes out every day after we clean each room. Follow me to the end of the hallway. This is our downward dog lounge. We keep all of our small guests here to socialize for a little bit, especially the ones that we have at the puppy love rooms, since they don't have terraces to go in and out. This is a big area. We have beds for them, we have water for them, and they just socialize with other dogs. The terrace, they can just go in at their pleasure. This room is purely for socialization. It is not to be used to take the dog out as play. They also need their independent play. This is our pantry room. We ask for every guest to bring their own food. It's just easier on their digestion, and we can keep them on the same diet that they have at home. When the front desk checks in a guest, they will take the food, they will inventory the food, and will make sure that the guest has plenty of food for their stay. After that, you will bring the food back here and you will label it correctly. You'll put the food inside some of these containers, and then you will label the container with the name of the guest and the room of the guest, and put it on these little shelves alphabetically. Keeping the pantry organized is very important. So when you're preparing breakfast or dinner, it will be very easy to find the food for each guest. We also have these little organization charts. In here, your co-workers will tell you where the food is located. Sometimes guests brings us big bags from Costco, and we have to store that somewhere down here or on this shelving area. In this area in particular, you will also find all the tools you'll need to feed our guests, like can openers, spoons, the tape to do the name tags, measuring cups, and also water. Some of our guests are very strict on their diet. They're probably old enough and they need to be pre-wet, or we have to put wet food on there. Some of them have cheese, some of them have chicken breast, and we keep those in the back in the refrigerator. So always make sure that you put a note in there that it's missing the cheese, or it's missing wet food, or it's missing some splash of water. All the tools are also over here. We have lots of bowls and lots of water buckets for you to make sure that the dishes are always available when you need them in this specific area. Every time one of our raised beds gets dirty, we have to disinfect it, even for a checkout room especially, or if a guest had an accident into these raised beds. So we'll bring it over here, and this is what we call the bed washing station. You can use the entire fence if you need to. So you'll hang the bed over here, you will use our disinfectant pump and just spray it all over, and continue to do all the other beds, and then you will rinse it with water. You'll use the hose that's in this area and just hose it down. You will leave the bed here to dry for a few minutes, and when it's completely dry, which will only take 10 or 15 minutes, we will store this in our clean bed storing station, which is back here. Follow me. So this is an outside terrace. This is the terrace that belongs to the pantry. So we don't have any guests in here. So we use it for storage for our clean beds. Just make sure that it's always nice and neat. You can use the fence, you can put them aligned this way. Try to be as organized as possible because we have very limited space. This is the back hallway. I have personally nicknamed this hallway the hallway from hell. Why? Because it's somehow always dirty and always full of clutter. So that's just the name that remains. However, we want to make sure that it doesn't hold up to that name. We keep all of our cleaning supplies back here. So as you can see, we have lots of squeegees, brushes, brooms, Clorox, our tools to pick up solid waste, our disinfectant diffuser. 2 buckets to rinse waste. This specific bucket is for our dog waste tubes. You will put some water on it and some Clorox on it, and after you get rid of the solid waste, you have to rinse it, wash it itself, and please hang immediately. Otherwise, the Clorox will disintegrate the metal on that tool. This area right here is exactly the same thing. We have water, we have Clorox, but we use this bigger bucket to rinse our cat litters. So whenever you help the front desk with the cat litter cleaning duties, you will come over here, you will dispose of the cat litter, and then you rinse it out, spray it real quick, and then hang to dry. Later on, all of these cat little trays can go back to the cat room. This trash can right here is located specifically to dispose of all solid waste. Remember how you're not supposed to put any solid waste inside of the facility. So you'll bring it right over here and dispose of it in this big trash can. Litter boxes needs to be here too, and solid waste from the inside and the outside, only and specifically on this trash can. This is our disinfectant and diffuser. It's kind of like the pumps, but you will fill it up till around right here with water, and this is what you will use once you attach a hose, and you will disinfect the terraces with lots of water and lots of disinfectant during the nighttime disinfecting process of the terraces. Here at Green Valley Pets, we have 2 very important acronyms that we want you to keep in mind at all times when you're performing your job. The first one I call the 3 W's, which is welfare, water, and waste. Those are the 3 things I want you to be watching at all times, inside and outside. These are the outside terraces for the spoiled dog rooms. We also have terraces for the good dog cottages. So when you are doing your 3 W's, you're going to be checking for welfare. Welfare means that our guest is in great condition. He's having a good time. He's not hurting, he's not trying to escape, he's not chewing on something, he's not choking on something, he is not disturbing other guests. He is doing great. Waste. That means you're going to go through all the terraces and see if you see any solid waste or urine. If there is solid waste of urine, you have to clean that right away. And water. Water is very important, specifically during summer months when it gets extremely hot. Our guests need to have water inside and outside. But that means that the water bucket needs to be clean, needs to be appropriate for the size of the guest, and the water needs to be plenty and clean. If you see hair, mud, food in that water, it needs to be replenished. For example, this bucket of water here, on the outside terraces, it needs to be hanging from the chain link so that the dog doesn't jump on it and makes its own little private pool out here. And it needs to be topped in with water. Water needs to be clean. Another way that you can also identify which guest are you looking at is the kennel card. We talked about the kennel cards earlier. We also have kennel cards in the outside terraces. So if you're coming from the outside and you need to locate this guest specifically, you know that this dog is out here. It has the name, the room number, and some specific notes. We talk about the kennel cards in more detail later on. When we are ready to return our guests to the owner, we will follow a procedure that we call pet valet. This procedure is specifically in place so that we don't run into checking guests or make a big havoc over in the reception area. When the receptionist is done with the checkout procedure, then and only then she will call back here, either with the doorbell or with the walkie-talkie, letting you know that the owner is ready to receive their guest. So now we have these two guests and we are going to return to the owner. So follow me through the hallway and the valet door. Guests need to be on a leash at all times. When you return the guest to the owner, make sure that you hand personally leashes to the owner and then you go. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye guys. Bye. Here at Green Valley Pets, we have a 1 hour lunch. It is between 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. For our guests, that's nap time. If you have any small guests socializing at the Downward Dog Lounge, we will need to bring this guest back into the rooms. Unless you talk to some of your co-workers and one of them is staying in the facility, just enjoying lunch in the back office or in the break room, then it's okay to leave them there, as long as this co-worker is going to be paying attention and listening for any fights or any other misbehavior at the Downward Dog Lounge. But if everyone is going out for lunch, every guest needs to be returned to their room. The terrace doors can stay open, however, all the other doors in the facility need to be closed. As you can see, the door from the back is closed. These doors on the sides are closed, and we will turn off all the lights. It's nap time. Another thing that you need to remember when you close the facility for lunch or at night when you go home is to look at every single door. These doors are alphabetically labeled. We have doors from A to L. So please make sure you follow the alphabet so you know for sure you've completely secured the facility. So you're going to close this door and you're going to continue. Sometimes when we are very busy, some of the rooms are not ready quite yet. That means that the current guest has not gone home yet and we haven't prepped the room for our new guest arriving that day. So we have these kennels outside. We call this the waiting room area. When a guest arrives and the room is not ready just yet, we put them right in here. When you place a new guest in these waiting room areas, make sure they have water and that they don't stay here for more than an hour without supervision. Our goal is to get the previous guest to check out, clean the room right away, and put this guest in the room assigned to them. This is also our laundry area. So here's our laundry machine, and here are some bins where we separate, we sort our linen accordingly. This is for towels only from the grooming room, and this is for the beds and blankets and all the other stuff that need to wash. You put detergent up here, and here are instructions on how to use the washing machine. We also have some scissors hanging from this ribbon, just in case you need to get rid of any strings that are loose and might harm our guests. At nighttime, we disinfect the terraces. As you remember, in the morning when we first get in here, we leave the guests out for a few moments so they can have their morning party break. Then we come over, clean all the solid waste and all the urine. But at nighttime, it's a slightly different process. We will have to disinfect the terraces as we didn't disinfect them in the morning. So we already closed the kennel for tonight. We will tuck in the dogs inside. They are having dinner and their terrace door is closed. So in order to be more efficient and faster during this process, we will open all the kennel doors that have guests staying over. If the terrace is clean because no one's staying in that room, then we really don't need to disinfect it. So in this example, we have all of the kennel doors open for the terraces. And then we will take our 100 feet hose with the attachment that we have with our disinfectant. Remember, we'll put our disinfectant out to this level and the rest is water. Then we just can go terrace by terrace. So when you have a terrace that's ready to be disinfected for the night, the first thing you're going to do is pick up any solid waste. So you'll pick up the waste and you will dispose of it correctly. And then you're going to spray the terrace with our disinfectant. Once you are done with all your terraces, you will make sure that you lock the door properly. That means you have your tent and you have your security door locked. This terrace is now disinfected. However, we are not ready yet. After we've done all the terraces, we also need to make sure that the gutters are clean. Cleaning the gutters in the outside of the terraces is very important because you will have the residue from urine and solid waste and will make all of these areas very, very smelly. So once you are done cleaning the terraces, either in the morning or at night, it's very important that you rinse out the gutters. We have lots of hose attachments that are designed to help us save water and also run all of the waste a little bit faster and cleaner. So you have to clean the drain like this all the way till the very end. We have terraces on the north side and the south side. We have gutters that end on the terraces. The gutter comes out to this drain. Please keep in mind that we are on a septic system. So that's why it's very important to always keep the lead strainer in our drains. A lot of garbage will be collected there, but we want to dispose of that garbage and don't let it go through our septic system. So that's why you will always find these small little toolboxes close to our drains. In these toolboxes, we keep disposable gloves. So please use a disposable glove and manually retrieve all the garbage from the drain, and you will going to put it on this bucket on the side. This bucket is obviously going to get full of debris and garbage throughout the day, and at the end of the day you will clean that. Another acronym we have here at Green Valley Pets is called a ABCD, which stands for always be closing doors. Doors are very important here at our facility because some of our guests, even when they're getting the best of care, they're always anxious to go home and look for the owners, and we don't want to lose anyone. So that's why it's very important that you follow the ABCDs. Always be closing doors. When you're walking around the facility and if you see that a door is not properly locked, go ahead and lock it immediately. Remember, this is the front of a room and it's locked, but it's not properly locked because it does not have the security pin. So a security pin has to be on at all times, including with the latch. Important is that also for the terrace doors, the playground doors, every door in this facility, including human doors, need to be closed at all times. And this is our way for safety and containment of our guests. Outside to playgroups around 2 times a day, depending on the weather. If it's raining or if it's very hot, some of our guests don't really want to go outside. But most of the time here in this area, the weather is beautiful. They want to be outside playing, smelling the trees, chasing each other. We will talk more about the transportation procedure. But first of all, every time you're going to use the playground, you need to inspect it first. So come with me, I'll show you how to do that. This is our reloadable gate, which means that it has a mechanism to close automatically. We like that because we know that it will close after each guest. This is the hallway that leads to our biggest playground. This is the small area where we take dogs that need to be exercised just a little bit. For example, older dogs or mellow dogs or dogs that are feel a little bit under the weather. We also use this area for small dogs. This is the entrance to our biggest playground. In here, we play with all the big dogs that are hyper and need to run and chase each other. This is a really, really fun environment. So this is our biggest playground. It's very secure. However, when you are out here, it is your solely duty to keep an eye, keep a watch on every single guest out here. We don't want more than 10 guests per pet concierge. So if you have 11 guests, you'll have to have a colleague come out here with you and help you supervise the group play. As you can see, we have plenty of space for the dogs to run around and be happy. We have a trampoline, we have umbrellas that we bring out on the summer, we have misters, we have a huge water hose. We also have a little pool that we fill out when it's hot outside. When you come out, you'll have to check the playground for a couple of things. We want to make sure that there's no debris that may harm one of our guests, like glass, wood, rodents, or any other dead animal that might have found their way over here overnight. Once you check for any of those hazards, you're also going to make sure that all the tools you need while you are here are in the vicinity. Those tools are your walkie-talkie, number one, which is your line of communication with the front desk. You also need to make sure that the waste basket is available and it has a clean garbage bag, that you also have your tools to retrieve waste, that you have water buckets to have water available for our guests. You will need a whistle, you will need an air horn, you will need leashes. Just in case one of our guests becomes a little irritated and he needs a little bit of a timeout and time away from the play group, then we can go ahead and secure him with a leash and give him a little bit of timeout. Follow me towards this lover bar. This is this lover bar. Remember, we are lodging facilities for pets. When our guests are here having a good time, it's very important that they also keep hydrated. So we want to keep water readily available and clean for them at all time while they are out here. So we have these plastic containers. You will take them from the fence and we'll fill them plenty every time you bring a new group out. Once you are done with that group, you will rinse the bucket and you will put it upside down like this. It's very important that you do this so that it doesn't grow any bacteria or algae and gets dirty and murky and the guest comes over and starts drinking dirty water. That's not okay. Other things that are unacceptable here in the playgroup is texting, talking on the phone, being distracted with another co-worker. Remember, the number one job you have here is to supervise that our guests are having a good time, they're safe, they're not bullying other guests, they're showing any aggressive behavior. We want to keep this area free of aggression, full of fun, and peaceful for all of our guests. Now I'm going to show you how we transport dogs out to the playground. Before we do that, we have to make sure that the facility is ready for that. For this specific activity during our day, you need to coordinate with the front desk and your fellow co-workers. Everybody needs to be informed that we are starting to transport guests out to the playground. Do not ever, under any circumstances, try to do this activity by yourself. The first thing we need to do is make sure that all the gates are properly closed. This gate needs to be closed. This door needs to be closed. This door can be open, must be open for the guests to come out. And both of the gates on the side must be retrieved closed so that the guests don't have anywhere else to go but this reloadable gate. Also, please make sure that the staff room door is closed so that guests don't come in here. So as you see, after you secure the entire path, our guests don't have any other way to go but through this gate into the playground. This transportation procedure was designed specifically for the efficiency of transporting a lot of guests at one point, and also in the unlikely event of a fire or evacuation, we will follow the same pattern. Now remember, you already coordinated with all of your other co-workers and everybody is informed that we are taking guests out to the playground. For this procedure, you will need a lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm. This is a happy time for everybody. One of your co-workers is already outside waiting for you and waiting for the guests. So what we're going to do is that once we've decided which guests are going to go out first, as we group them accordingly to their energy level and demeanor, so we now know who's going out on this first group. This guest is ready to go out, so we will open the door from towards us and we'll just encourage the dog to go out. Come on, come on, come, come. So now all of our guests are safe inside. You help bring them all the way out here. You follow them, you encourage them to come out. What we've noticed is that our guests who stay here most of the time already know the way. Your colleague that's inside is going to make sure that she receives every dog, and she's still going to lock all of these Jordan gates. The Jordan gates are specifically designed for no dog to go any farther. Also, as you can see, this little containment area, we will use this area for timeouts. If we have a dog that is behaving kind of rudely toward other dogs or is just annoying everybody, we will put them in here in this timeout cage. And here he can mellow out, relax, and just be by himself. If he's not getting any better, then you can radio the front desk agent and get some more extra help for them to come over, get the guests, and return them to their room. This is the back office. Please always keep in mind that we have guests who want to come to the back office to use the restroom. So we want to have the back office fairly presentable at all times. Here you will find our security cameras. We check the security cameras, the recording on them, every night. We also store here the medication for our guests and our medication log. They are strategically placed here so that we have video on everybody who's in charge of medications and the logging. So in case we ever miss a dose, we can refer to the footage. We have some files in here. Your file will be here, and we will put a lot of notices in them. Like for example, schedule, changes, trades, memos, and your time card should also be here. Please talk to your lead and she will teach you how to use your time card properly. We have a master cleaning list here. There is always something to do. Here are some ideas on the stuff that you can be doing just in case you find that you've done everything you can possibly do. We keep most of our keys here. And once again, we have our flow lodge schedule on a daily basis here for you to refer to. This is the only desk in the facility, so please try to keep it free of clutter all the time. This binder here is sitting for educational purposes. Sometimes we will come across an article that we think is interesting and that we want all of the employees to read. So I will send you an email letting you know that there's a new article in the educational binder. Once you read the article, there's also a login in here where you can sign just to let us know that you've read it. When you come in here, we have a big room on the back of the kennel. That is our break room. You can store your food there, your purse there, your sweater there, all your belongings should go there. But if for any reason you feel like this is a place for your stuff, we also have a small area here. When you come in, there's hangers, and please make sure that you always hang your stuff on this area so that we can just keep it a little bit more organized. Once you open these curtains, you will see that we have some other stuff that you might possibly need here. Paper towels, toilet paper, bulbs, some tools, some spare parts, some lost and found, etc. We also have this blackboard. This blackboard is a form of communication between management and our employees. You can also use this blackboard if you ever have an idea that you think is going to make it a better place for work or a safer place for our guests. Please jot down your idea on this blackboard. We will read it. We will take in consideration all of your input. Well, that's it for our training video. We are pretty sure we covered all of the most important parts of our training. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask your leads. We want you to know that you have open communications with everybody here, your leads and the other at any level of management. If something that you see in this company is not suiting your needs, or you think it's harmful, or that we can do better, please bring it out to our attention right away. We want you to know that we are open to any suggestions and ideas. This company, in fact, is based in lots of good ideas and lots of good inputs of customers, previous employees, and current employees as well. Do you have any concerns? If for any reason you don't feel like this is the place for you, please bring it out to our attention. It is our goal that you are happy here. It is our goal that our customers are happy here. And the mission of our company is to treat every pet as if it was a member of our family. Thank you.